Okay, here we go. It's another Thursday.
All right. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really fun one. I'm expecting a pretty good turnout, given the reference and subject matter we have for today. It's a pretty exciting one.
It's really cool.
It's always exciting when we have like a guest contributor, Rachel Morrison. And also it's just getting darker. It's getting darker and gloomier in the evenings.
Oh man.
Oh,
I couldn't believe it was dark when I came down into my studio tonight. It was like I got windows all over the place now, and I had to turn the lights on. I thought, wow, it has definitely changed. Plus it dropped about 20 degrees this morning.
it dropped like 40 degrees. It was nuts. This morning it was like 75 and balmy in Kansas City. I was talking with my mom. I was like, do you think like I was like, do you think that like the prairie people were like, yeah, man, cut those pants into shorts. It's warm weather this week. And it was like the afternoon rolls around, it's like 40.
That weather is coming for us on Sunday.
Oof. Yeah. So I was talking with Christopher the model. I was telling John, and he's in sunny Santa Barbara. And he was like, I think what's that?
Complaining.
He was like, yeah, I think I've got seasonal affective disorder. And I was like, oh, okay, Mr. Santa Barbara. I was
Did you tell him he sounded so California?
Yeah, I was like, imagine all of the plants are dying too, though. Yeah, so anyways, are you guys ready? We got Raymond in the room too, so I'm gonna get things going.
Hello, Raymond.
Here we go. Okay.
All right. Hey, everybody. See if I can grab this quickly. I think we're sharing, Timmy.
Yeah, looks great.
All right. Worked good tonight. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Illustration Isolation. We are really lucky tonight, not just because Cassandra has joined us and Raymond has joined us, but we are going to be drawing reference from Rachel Morrison, who's an amazing cinematographer. Mudbound, Timmy, help me, Fruitville Station,
Black Panther.
Something called Black Panther.
Yeah, little IP called Black Panther. Amazing body of work, and we are lucky to be able to draw these images tonight, and these are selected by Rachel. So first one is our first 20-minute pose. Our second 20-minute pose. Our third 20-minute pose. Oh, excuse me. Our third pose, which could be either, it's a 40-minute pose. We have the choice of this piece of reference or this piece of reference. And so obviously I didn't say anybody's names here. Elizabeth Banks. Oh man, I lost my
Rob Morgan.
I can't see my
I'll tell you the next one. Go back one.
All right, good deal. Here we go. Sorry about that, Timmy. I really screwed up. I've ruined everything by going backwards.
This is a disaster.
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington.
Boyd Holbrook. Thank
you. I took all the names off because we were focusing on Rachel, and obviously I got burned. So again, I shoot myself in the foot. But anyway, I think we'll have fun drawing these. I'm looking forward to hanging with Ray and Cassandra, and we probably have a few more come in, and hope we have a big audience tonight. And I think, well, we already do have a big audience tonight. So let's get drawing. If you are new to us, we post all of our work in between poses to hashtag Visual Arts Passage. And then Timmy and I will argue about who's going to show their screen at the end. I have mine pulled up just in case, Timmy, just in case. And we'll go through and take a look at all the different points of view of, a large group of people working from the same photo reference. So welcome, thank you, and let's get drawing.
Yeah, if anybody's wondering, I did drop a link in the chat. I also dropped a link to join us on Discord. If you want to be part of the conversation, you want to chat a little bit more, we disable the chat on Zoom. But if you want to chat with us, be part of the community all week long, join us on Discord. If you don't know what Discord is, don't worry about it. Just use the Q&A on Zoom and we'll keep an eye on it. I do just want to encourage everybody, please draw along, and also just feel free to ask questions. Don't feel like you just have to listen to us talk about the temperature changes in Kansas City.
You're going to figure out real quickly that Ray and Cassandra know stuff. So please press their buttons.
We also have another person from New Zealand, a new person from New Zealand, which, if you guys don't know, our New Zealand fan base is growing.
That's fantastic.
We have at least one.
No, John, we have at least 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. Does anybody have New Zealand beat on distance from Kansas City? I'm just curious. Please use the chat.
I'm more just curious what time it is currently in New Zealand.
It's 6 o'clock here, so it's at least 7 or 8 there, probably.
AM?
No. Yeah. I think they're an hour ahead of us. Yeah. But yeah, let's keep an eye on. All right, we've got some new people here.
Yay. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Someone said the lighting on Jeff says this, the lighting on images 2 and 3 is going to be super challenging. Any advice on handling challenging lighting like that?
Look for shape.
Yeah.
You got to use those big, bold shapes that are there and try to find them. I mean, I do that on, I try to look for shape on everything, but especially those, because there's, those are photographs that I would, highly suggest you put things in the right place. And that's really going to be your challenge. Just find out where those features go.
Well, and identify that silhouette. There's a lovely silhouette, and that's why the lighting is able to be what it is, because of the strong silhouette. So find the silhouette and then worry about the light. The shapes is exactly what John's talking about.
All right, I have no idea if this beats on distance, but Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Pretty awesome.
Well,
and it's 1 p.m. in New Zealand right now, so
excellent.
Happy hour time, right? 1 p.m. on a Friday.
A lot of great artwork comes out of New Zealand.
Does it really?
Yeah, well, that's where Weta is, isn't it? Am I right, Ray? Ray's not talking to me.
I was gonna say, we'll see if we hear from Ray tonight.
Maybe he's switching to digital. It looked like he was starting with painting.
Looks like that's what's happening.
You chickened out.
Still, I'm sticking with traditional. Okay, I'm not jumping ship, Cassandra.
I was like, man, last week I couldn't paint and you were painting, and then I thought you were gonna ditch me.
I realized that I didn't have my microphone input on, so I was talking about how big we were in New Zealand, and Timmy was just bulldozing me. Geez, what did I say? Is it about last week?
Why doesn't anybody find me funny? I'm
yeah.
I'm a regular clown here.
You literally were like, is this thing on?
Yeah. I was answering John's questions too. Yeah. So what I was saying was, what is probably home to some of the best artists in the world. I mean, VFX wise, for sure. You know, I mean, there's a big tradition down there too. They in Sydney, in Australia, and in New Zealand, there's a big figurative painting tradition. So I actually follow there's an artist on YouTube. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Andrew Tischler.
No.
He's a really great, excellent painter and really great teacher too. Does videos on just landscape painting, portrait, still life, and so he does a bunch of demos. It's great. Really well produced videos.
Do you know Paul Tobin? Ray?
I do not. No.
How
do you spell that name out?
Tobin, I believe, but I thought he was a New Zealand guy. I could be wrong. I usually am.
We'll have to buck up on our New Zealand artists when we next week. So one thing I was going to say about this, the difficult lighting, just to piggyback on what Cassandra had said about just shapes, it might also help if you have your reference up, try and shrink it down to almost like a third of its size, so that that's all you're really seeing and you can't see any information. I find that helpful.
Yeah.
When it comes to just straight up value pattern things. I was noticing that, especially with today I got a copy of Todd Casey's Oil Painter's Color Handbook. You know, Todd?
You went to the academy.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So he wrote this really great book on still life painting. I don't know if anyone's seen that one. I think it's called The Art of the Still Life. And then he wrote a book called Oil Painter's Handbook. And so he has, the reproductions are fantastic in the book. And before anyone says anything, it's not because one of my paintings is in the book.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Such nice things about it.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. No, but there was there's a whole bunch of Dean Cornwells, and those things, you know, they read so well. It's like, I was just happy I wasn't put, you know, my piece wasn't right up next to one of them, because it just would have looked awful. It's just the shapes are so strong in them. They don't look overbearing either. I always, you know what I'm talking about, Cassandra? It's like, you know, like sometimes, it's like you compose something.
It almost looks effortless.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like, as if the painting was always meant to be that way.
Which it's not, but they managed to do that, which makes you feel even stinkier, because it doesn't, like, I don't know. I always feel like I have to struggle to figure that out.
Yeah, no, it's super easy for me. I just cry for 38 hours and then do about 2 hours of painting, and we're good.
You cry a little bit, and then, you know, it's there.
Just cry.
So I did round up art news for this week. Most of it is not really like artsy art news. Believe it or not, it's hard to find art news that's just like fun and goofy.
Right.
like trying to walk a line. I made the mistake of that climate change one, and man, now I get like everybody forwards me like if anything happens related to climate change in a museum, like people forward me news article.
Well, now you'll be really, really well informed, Timmy.
And I'm gonna be the first to admit it. I took sides too fast. Took sides a little too fast on that one, and I'll be pulling that episode probably pretty soon.
Today's art news starts with the retraction.
Timmy, you notice how quiet we were when you did that.
Yeah.
Nobody said a word.
I still stand by it. As of that week. But it's ramped up to a degree that I did not anticipate.
Oh, I have art news related to New Zealand.
Oh, really? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so
it doesn't involve somebody gluing themselves to something.
no, nobody glues, no food is flung, but New Zealand recently voted to if a piece of art is resold, the artist gets a 5% of the profit in the reselling. And like it's happened, and they passed that in Italy and another European country, but like New Zealand just passed it that'll take an effect, I think, in 2024. The US, like they've been trying to pass it for ages and it hasn't happened, but it was exciting. They feel like the fact that that's happening in New Zealand is a step towards possibly happening in more countries. So yay, go New Zealand.
Wow. Do you think that's this is a scary thing to say, but do you think that is a product of the NFTs being effective that way?
I don't know. That's a real possibility, honestly. Because I've definitely heard it more discussed now versus before NFTs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wonder how they'll police it too. I mean, like, I think obviously for auction houses and.
Yeah, I think that's more where it's going to be considered. But, you know, there's not much you can do about unregistered in the backs of galleries kind of thing. But for the big auction houses, that'll be a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, that is interesting how that would be policed.
Yeah, because with NFTs, you don't have to police anything. It's in the meta. It's in the embedded in the data itself. It can't be messed with.
Let the record show, John, you're the first one to say NFT tonight.
Let the record show. John, we gotta, Timmy, you gotta get, what are those things called with like the like little
a gavel,
like with buzzer?
No, you know, the names, you know, when they have like names underneath someone's video, and then like they say what their profession is, right?
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
lower
you have
third.
to have John English NFT expert, you know.
Yeah.
Or NFT advocate, John English painter. NFT
advocate. I did not. I was very unbiased about either.
No, I know.
No,
we all know. We all know you. You said
John, will you just let us out you, please?
Please.
We all heard like the quiver in your voice as you said NFT.
No, this is dangerous.
Yeah. If anybody does have questions about working with these images, I do want to encourage you to ask. Someone did ask, what's the best medium you think to start off with as a beginner?
Hey, you know, I'm going to suggest a couple things. Drawing in charcoal, for sure. Drawing with graphite and charcoal. Dry mediums are real easy to use at the beginning, and you can, you know, drawing is painting, or painting is drawing, however you want to look at it. And dry mediums, really good. Pastel, I use new pastels, and I'm a beginner, so I highly encourage that. If you're going to paint, I would suggest trying gouache. I think gouache is a really easy, easy. I don't think anything's easy, but the material itself is fairly simple to use. Those are my suggestions. The floor is open to everybody else.
I concur with what you're saying. I mean, pencil is always classic, but the new pastel is really nice because it's easy to kind of lay down some tone. You can smear it, you can do light on top, like John was mentioning. It's very forgiving and it's fun to work with. I don't feel like there's a big arc.
Yeah, you know, you can take something like learning things that really relate to drawing and painting, like mark making and textures, the difference between hard and soft edge, all of that stuff you can learn with dry medium, and you can apply it to your painting later on. And I think pastel, using the new pastels is really helpful to that, because it's very active dry medium. You can push it and get all kinds of fun mark making like you would like you were using paint. Right?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I haven't really used new pastels a lot, but I really learned color or paint, how to control color in my painting through using pastel and soft pastel, but because it allows you, and so I totally concur in terms of dry media. Charcoal is a great medium because it's so cheap and it's so forgiving, and like John had said, you can learn a lot about painting through it because it's a very painterly medium.
You can also
in
mix
that regard.
You can mix charcoal and graphite together, things that are more controllable. You can get all kinds of different variations of types of charcoal, of vine charcoal, which is very, very wild and hard to control. You can use compressed charcoals. You know, there's a lot of room within inside the medium itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it simple is my advice.
Yep.
And there's just those mediums.
What did you first paint with, Ray?
I first painted with oils, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I went right into oil painting, but I had messed around with acrylics because they were the most easiest to kind of get started off with. I shouldn't say that. My first, I did mess around with acrylics, when I was just sort of exploring stuff. But my first real painting came in the form of a color theory class taught by an instructor of mine by the name of Cameron Wasson, and Cameron had us painting in gouache. It was very flat.
Yeah,
everything was flat. It was color mixing. Like we created color chips and cut everything up into built color wheels. We basically just produced a color binder. And gouache really forces you to lay down a shape.
Yeah, that's why I suggested.
Yeah, it's great medium. Really just solid medium in terms of just being disciplined about that. You really can't, to paraphrase an English buddy of mine, you can't really fuff about with gouache. It's like it will make you pay.
Raymond, for you, that's my very first painting.
Oh, wow. That's your very first painting? That's really good.
It's in gouache. That's what I learned to paint with.
Wow, that's great.
Man.
And that's the painting that my dad took from me and said, you're not going to do anything better than that for 10 years.
I love that was just within arm's reach.
I was gonna say, how fast? I mean, like
all I've been doing the last months have been organizing, and I put everything in bought a whole bunch of flat files and doing flat files, and I have all my original studios work.
John, can you show us your sixth painting?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Hold on.
I just was gonna ask. Hey, Ray, Cassandra, how long is it going to take for both of you to dig up your first painting?
I do not know where it is. I don't have that level of organization skills.
I told you what, Ray, I told you why I have it is that when my father passed, and I was totally shocked, he had been keeping all of it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right. That's right. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
I got such a kick out of that. I was so shocked.
That's a nice painting.
It is a nice painting.
Wow. Yeah. My first
My
painting,
first painting did not look like that.
Yeah, no. My first painting wasn't bad. I'll tell you why, because I wanted to get a head start on learning oil painting. So I was reading a book. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. The Practice and Science of Drawing by Harold Speed.
Yeah.
And he has a way of going from drawing to painting there. And it was like a really just boiled down, like simple process. And so I did a head painting like that. So you basically just draw it out in charcoals, fix it, and then take a middle tone of like, take white and black paint, mix a little bit of raw umber with the black if you wanted to, but really just mix up a middle tone, put it on your canvas, and then just thinly rub it in so that it's almost like washing it. And then you take black, you dark color, and you sort of work it in the wet paint if you want it darker, and the white and then you work that into the middle tone itself. And I produced a pretty good piece. And then after that, it took about 100 paintings of absolute train wreck attempts of painting after that. And
I can totally, I'll match my 100 train wrecks with you someday, because man, everybody flops, everybody fails, and it's it's important.
John, how old were you when you did that first painting?
I was 16.
Wow.
Dang, man. Good job.
Wow.
And then you were in your mid-20s before you surpassed it.
I was. Yeah.
Really? Was that accurate? It was like 10 years.
I think I was. I mean, I did things in my early 20s that were, part of what I would consider part of my career.
Yeah.
So
just for some of the new people, John, could you briefly elaborate on what your career looked like?
Started at 16 with that painting.
No, I actually started making a living as an artist when I was in my early 20s, probably 22, 20 late. Yeah, probably about 22. And not surprisingly, I had a good understanding of the industry and how it worked. I mean, that was the one advantage I had. My work wasn't very good. It was good enough to start getting work. And the one thing I could do was I could paint portraits. And that's the type of illustration editorially I got, was likenesses. And I did a bunch of them for a long time. But I started in the editorial market. For those of you don't, that's what we refer to as a magazine illustrator. And I think, and I still think it's the kind of, maybe I hate to say this, but it's kind of the easiest barrier of entry into our industry as an illustrator, because there's so much of it, and so many varying types of it. I mean, think about all of the editorial, all of the magazines you see at your doctor's office that you don't see on a kiosk somewhere. Most of them have illustration in it. All of the magazines that are produced by universities and medical industry, there's a lot of useful or a lot of use for illustrators in those. And I do think it's also a very visible part of our industry where a lot of other art directors see it, and it's a good starting place for a young illustrator that's interested in that type of work anyway.
Could everybody, I know we do this every week, and I try to make a good habit of it, but can everybody say what they're working with tonight?
I'm working with acrylic on cardboard that I treat with GAC 100, just so I can seal it.
Ray, what's going on? Is that Photoshop? Is that?
Yeah, I'm inside of a shop. So this is acrylic on, I guess, a sketchbook that has watercolor paper on it. And I didn't treat it, so I'm just painting right into the paper.
Also, I don't want to butcher this for you guys, but if you're new here, Cassandra Kim and Raymond Bonilla are awesome supporters of Illustration Isolation. They're also incredible gallery artists that are helping us kick off our new commercial gallery program, which is a mentorship program for Visual Arts Passage students. But you've both had incredible careers. I feel like every time I'm talking with one of you, you're preparing for like a new show at a new gallery. So I don't know how you keep up with it.
It's a juggle. You just get used to the rhythm of it all.
Yeah. There's just outside this camera is a whole bunch of unfinished paintings that I have to finish very soon. Sandra knows what I'm talking about. Just like,
oh yeah,
just like, oh no. Yeah,
staring you down.
We both had illustration training, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when there's a premium being put on, like, when at least I found in my training was always a premium was put on efficiency, understanding, like, okay, how do you do something of high quality in the least amount of time, and how do you do it consistently? And so I think that really prepared me well for being a gallery painter, because you have the time management's huge, and being able to parse your day out so that you're working on the right things, I think is it's one of the biggest day-to-day things that I do as a gallery painter.
Yeah. Well, and I think having illustration background and knowing how to talk to art directors and things like that sets you up for talking really well to galleries, owners, and curators.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that, sorry to interrupt, Ray. The other thing that illustration is pretty demanding of facilitation, and applying that to different other parts of the industry, it's a great training ground. I'll leave it at that. By the way, I'm working in new pastel, as I said I was earlier, and I like to draw with it because I think more about getting, obviously we're trying to get a likeness in here, and but I think about things that relate to painting with it more so than if I'm just drawing in black and white, even if I'm drawing monochromatically here.
Love how it doesn't take much for a pastel drawing to become a pastel painting.
Right.
What defines a pastel painting versus a pastel drawing? I feel like if you're going to say that statement, you have to then define.
Yeah. So that's a good question, Cassandra. So the way it was explained to me, my teacher, Bill Mon, who's a pastel artist himself, said that the difference between a pastel drawing and a pastel painting is that if most of the surface of the substrate is covered with the medium, then it becomes a pastel painting. If otherwise, it's a pastel drawing. Was the most simplest way he would tell us. But John, you're the expert on this, so
I don't know if I can explain it. Part of bringing full value to the whole piece. I think in drawing, I'm thinking more of what I'm going to leave undone and how I'm going to vignette this, let it go to the mid-tone paper. I think some of my drawings that I do kind of become, I mean, you can see some stuff. Well, maybe you can't if I switch my camera from Halloween month. You can
Love that wall.
see things on the wall.
Love that wall.
And they become way too, they become, I take them further and they are more like paintings because you're satisfying, you make a complete picture out of it. The drawings, I leave undone and leave a lot unfinished. I don't think I have like a technical or an exact definition of it.
Well, that works.
Yeah, that checks out.
I'm glad you guys.
I approve.
Yeah, you want to.
I didn't have an answer, but I approve.
You are approved to continue using pastel, John, as
Thank you.
Cassandra and I agree.
Your certification process is complete.
John English, pastel artist, NFT advocate.
It's really funny. It's really funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was never like a fan of pastel until I started, doing figure drawing in it all the time. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I did. This is really strange. It's like whatever that thing or idiosyncrasy it is you have about like hearing fingernails on a
yeah, I have that problem with pastel.
I had it. I used to bite my tongue in life drawing class the whole time because I couldn't stand the sound and the feeling of it. It's dry. It just really bothered me.
Interesting.
I love what it does. I love how fresh it can be. The biggest thing is, and one of the things that that I really battle with more than anything, and I'm just about getting into it in this drawing right now, is like, what is a finish? When is it done? And because you can take it so much further, then just a lot of times my struggle is trying not to overwork them. And I do a lot. That's usually what the difference for me is. What makes a good one and a bad one is when I can just get the information down without like destroying it by overworking it.
It can be such a personal choice though, like what is brilliant to leave, unfinished to some, but finished to others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's why pastel is such a great medium to start with, because it's what you talk about there is something you deal with in painting all the time, right? It's like, what's the intent, and so you could start building in these like, past the fundamentals when it becomes into like, okay, when you're past like learning how to put things in, then the question is, how much of those things do you want to put in? How much you want to leave out, and the editing, and so in all those questions, I find with like a painterly medium like pastel, or if you could, I think you start to ask those questions relatively quickly when, in terms of like how much time it transpires with working with it. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan. I really got to get back into working with pastels. I do miss it.
It's funny. I'm always telling, and sometimes I divert to that. I wish it's easy. You don't have to think about cleanup or anything like that either. So it's relatively.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. And everything I own has pastel all over it, or oil paint all over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. That's kind of like why I like washing acrylic. For that reason, is the cleanup is faster than oil paint for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I paint with. I'm painting with gloves now with my acrylics, but I usually don't. I just don't want acrylic all over me. Yeah, reach for different things. But with oil paint, you just have to be conscious of where things are because it could just make such a mess.
Yeah.
You know, you forget that the day before that you put a palette somewhere. It's happened to the best of us, and you sit down to look at another painting that you're working on with a different palette, and you sit right on your palette. You know, ever have that happen?
It's funny you said that. I was in my father's studio. He had a whole group of students that were from outside of the country. They were from Japan, actually, and the most polite people in the world. And they traveled a long way to see my father and see him in his studio. And he did exactly that, Ray. The first thing he did is he sat in a pallet while he was talking to them.
No. Oh my God.
He had to give them permission to laugh.
Oh
my God.
It felt like they were trying so hard to be polite. And he just said, "Oh, it's just part of the, what happens here." I mean, but it was pretty funny.
I'm sure his On His Pants was like a perfect painting too.
It was a nice Rorschach blot that they all could interpret.
Will someday be hanging in
this is the end of the first pose, everybody. So please post your work to Instagram using hashtag illustration isolation, add visual arts passage, and also I want to make sure that I get the handle correct. I should have grabbed it before I did this. But I've also got Rachel's handle there on the photo reference page. I believe it's R Morrison. Yeah, at R Morrison with 2 R's. Please tag Rachel Morrison. It's really important. First of all, a lot of times guest photographers and cinematographers, they'll share your work. They usually have sizable followings. But like the most important thing is Rachel's being extremely generous with like letting us use her photography and supporting this. And so give credit where credit's due. So please tag her. Plus it's just like, it makes it so much more fun for these people that are contributing. So please do that. Now I'm organizing my art news.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, I'm just giddy at the fact that I get to work on this reference, and that Rachel's a featured artist. I'm just like,
yeah.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah, I just shared all the tags in the chat, everybody. All right, are we ready for art news?
Bring it.
Okay, cool. I have accompanying imagery for art news now. I'm doing my art theft of the week. That I want that to be a
excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Art Theft Thursdays, right?
Art Theft Thursdays, Art Theft of the Week. And I just want to remind everybody, a theft occurred. So I am making light of a theft. I'm acknowledging that. It's not always, it's like, do you want Art Theft of the Week or not? But so if everybody thinks that this is tone deaf, if everybody thinks my Art Theft of the Week is tone deaf, just email Dale Stefanos and we'll just.
All right.
All right. Teenage thieves disguised as art students are robbing New York galleries. It shouldn't come as a surprise that the art world is rife with crime, from fakes and forgeries to fraud, sketchy tax workarounds, and on the more glamorous end of the spectrum, daring heists. This is none of those. They're witnessing a string of robberies that reduced the art hanging on their walls as a mere distraction. 5 Manhattan galleries were reported that a group of young people who appeared to be teenagers made off with handbags, headphones, and credit cards, and no artwork was actually stolen. And it was by asking questions, pretending that they were art students. That was their ruse. That was their distraction.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So no art, but art was safe.
Well, it was more
so
of like, our gallery is going to be like, do you really want to know, or are you going to take my wallet? Like, what is this? Why are you asking questions?
Yeah.
So what did they steal again?
Just like, it was just like small thefts, like purses and wallets and stuff. But they would use it's just like such a niche.
It was a ruse.
It was a ruse. It's like I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. What I think we're all a little on edge. We're like, is this another one of Timmy's news stories that's going to get us in hot water?
Especially when you say it's interesting. It kind of triggers me, because you were saying that
you know what? Last time I did a news special, you guys were all like, what about the art? And then I pick a news special where the art's the only thing that's safe. I thought it was I don't know. It all goes back to Catch Me If You Can. And hopefully these young people will learn how to use their cleverness for good. Yeah. So that's art theft of the week. That's it.
That's pretty.
I like that one. I like Timmy.
You don't like it?
I did. I said I do like it. I do like it.
All right. Well, if everybody wants art theft of the week to be discontinued, actually do say so in the chat, because I need to know. It's really hard because there isn't an art theft every week. So
we can talk about like art theft,
scrape,
you know, if you don't have a current one.
Yeah. But I want it to be weekly, Cassandra.
But it can be weekly. You make it weekly art theft of the week by talking about something in the past. If we don't have a current one.
All right. Well, it was
giving you the alley-oop here, Timmy. He's giving you the alley-oop here.
I'm supporting you here. I'm trying.
I really appreciate it, Cassandra. This week was full of art news that was what I would call third rail art news, and so I'm trying to keep it fun. This is more of like tangential art news. Archaeologists discover tunnel underneath storied Egyptian temple dedicated to the god of death. Archaeologists in Egypt have discovered a secret tunnel underneath the Toposaurus Magna, a temple dedicated to Osiris. The tunnel was discovered by the Dominican Egyptian Archaeological Mission of the University of San Domingo, headed by Kathleen Martins. They found the tunnel, which was carved into rock some 40 feet underground. The tunnel stretches approximately 4,300 feet in length and is 6 feet in height. They described it as an engineering miracle. And let me cut to the good stuff. Some believe right now that behind the temple, Cleopatra and her lover Mark Antony may be buried in a necropolis. So they're uncovering. In 2021, Martin's team they've discovered 16 burial chambers with 2 mummies fitted with golden tongues. However, thus far, Cleopatra and Mark Antony remain unfound. So this is exciting because there's a lot to be. It might be the one. But anyway, if you're an archaeologist and you find a secret tunnel dedicated to the god of death, that that seems
like a, I told you so waiting to happen. Like, don't go down the tunnel for the god of death. I mean,
right?
Yeah, no.
Would you go down that? Would you?
I mean, I went to Cairo, I went to Egypt, and I went into a bunch of the tombs. So, I'm probably I'm a hypocrite here.
Uh-huh.
Cassandra's already cursed, basically, is what
Pretty much, yeah.
Can you imagine, like, these places have just been scoured by archaeologists, and then they find a like 4,000 foot long tunnel,
6 feet in height. It's not even like a crawl space.
Was technology the reason they found it?
It doesn't say how they found it. I can't imagine that it was just like, have you ever gone down this hallway?
For the fact that nobody ever came back after they went down that hallway.
Yeah. Somebody was like, I feel like I haven't seen that hallway before.
Yeah, it's like, I'm on my way back from the water jug, and you guys notice that door?
Yeah. So, I guess this news is art theft of the week, and then I guess I'll call this lost stuff. The lost stuff segment. So, all right, 2,000-year-old ancient Roman ship found near Croatia by underwater archaeologists. So archaeologists are shining this week. They discovered a Roman wooden boat from the 1st century. The wooden ship was 29 feet in length and nearly 10 feet wide. It was found by a team from the International Center for Underwater Archaeology near the coastal city of Zadar. They've been working in the area since 2017, and they finally found this ship. They had suspected it was the site of a major wreck after they found pieces of wood and 30 bronze coins minted during the reign of the Roman Emperor Constantine. Pretty amazing. The entire shell has been preserved, which is incredible.
How?
It was covered in a layer of sand for over 2,000 years.
Shouldn't they leave it under the cover of sand then if it's preserved? I mean, this is, I think the debate that I keep hearing is where, like, they find it and should they rebury it to protect it? Because often bringing things up destroys it.
Oh, it's like a jellyfish.
Yeah, like it made it that long because of the way of where it settled. And by bringing it out of that and exposing it to oxygen and things like that, it just will diminish quite quickly.
That's such an interesting, like, kind of philosophical debate, because if it's under a bunch of sand, nobody gets to enjoy it or like see it. But if you pull it up, only a few people are going to get to see it for a short, brief period of time, right?
Well, like, can't you, I mean, at this point, can't they 3D scan it underwater and like then rebury it to leave it where it is to really protect it?
Would reburying it damage it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or, because I was reading about, like, when they were doing a lot of work in Turkey on Ephesus, like only 20% had been excavated. And there was a lot of debate as to whether or not they were going to excavate more because there was so much. And they were kind of talking about more just scanning the ground and scanning what is available, but not digging it up to protect it for future generations.
Amy, what is the name of the riverboat here in Kansas City that they?
Oh my God! Yeah, the riverboat. Oh my gosh! I can't believe I can't think of it. It's like everybody's field trip when they were like in second grade. I gotta know.
But it was buried in mud in the Missouri River, and the
Arabia steamboat.
Yeah, the Arabia.
Yeah, and it's a thriving museum now, Cassandra. No, this is actually really funny. Everybody that when when we were kids, we would go on field trips to the Arabia Steamboat, and it was just like a slam dunk field trip for kids. And so I've been to it like 10 times. Like they would be like, we're going back to the Steamboat Museum. And part of the Arabia Steamboat was there was only one fatality related to the Arabia Steamboat, and it was a donkey. And so you go and you visit the skeletal remains of the donkey.
I bet like it has a name that everybody knows too.
Yeah.
What's the donkey's? It's like I'm waiting to hear the donkey's name.
I don't remember the donkey's name, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead.
Of the donkey.
Of the donkey. I don't want to speak ill of the donkey. But anybody like that grew up during my like generation in Kansas City always be like, remember the donkey at Steamboat Arabia? It was like it really like stole the whole thing. It was an amazing museum. If you're in Kansas City, I don't know that you should go to this museum.
I like that you started to say I highly recommend it, and then you backed away.
Don't. Don't. There's a reason that like climate change groups aren't going to the Steamboat Arabia Museum. They're like, somebody glued themselves to the donkey at Steamboat Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, that would be pretty cool if they did that with the Roman boat, but it was like a museum that was only open for like a week.
Well, like in Iceland, they have like there's a museum that I went to that was really cool to see in person. They built the museum around the excavated boat, and it was like an old Viking ship, and that was so cool to see. Like it is undeniably amazing to see. I just also worry about the preservation of it, but it's very dim and dark, and like they're trying really hard to protect it.
I'm sure that I would like to think that would be the first concern, is like, are we going to do more damage?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure there's.
But how much money can we make from this? That's the first concern.
Some coins, some Roman coins, John. I mean,
those. I was actually just on. Yeah, I was. Yeah, there. Like what is like one little trinket, like a trinket from that ship worth?
Right. Priceless.
eBay that stuff, right? Like how fast
I'm really tongue in cheek about it. I don't want to sound too tongue in cheek about it, but that's a common problem across like a lot of disciplines in preserving things for history and things. I mean, like a big thing is in documenting like rare birds.
Yeah.
Like in order for scientists to study it, they have to kill the bird.
Right.
Right. And then stuff it and bring it back so that's preserved, but it was killed in order to preserve it. So it's kind of like a
Ray, to that end, I've heard a metaphor that somebody has used before when somebody overanalyzes art. They'll say, don't ruin the songbird by dissecting the bird.
Oh, that's nice.
Don't ruin the song by dissecting the bird. Yeah. Which is like, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a good
good rule of thumb there.
And I know what that means. I know what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. I like things.
I met a what happened?
I said I like things that I understand.
Yeah. I met an artist by the name of James Prozac, through a good friend of mine's.
Yeah.
Alberto Ray, and James literally went into the jungle with people who were going in to try and study these rare birds, and he talked about how like you had to you know, he was there also to document them, but he talked about how, you know, they would have to kill them and then document them, you know, and he was there trying to paint them from life, because I guess he was saying that the colors fade really quickly on them when, you know, when they get killed. So so it's just like a rush once you to record information once the bird is trapped and killed. It's really, really interesting, you know. I'm sure it's never, you know, it's kind of like one of those things where, like, you know, the Sistine Chapel, when they cleaned it, you know, restoring artwork, and there were a lot of artists that were against that because they said that it ruined the piece, and other people said that it actually didn't. It restored it back to its original, you know, the way it was used to be seen, and there's the way it was done when it was finished. And I don't know, it's such a interesting
Discussion.
thought experiment. Yeah, it's a really interesting thought experiment. Because what about artwork that just wasn't designed to last? Like Norman Rockwell's work, you know, he put a layer of shellac on, you know, on every layer of oils that he put in, and that, you know, it's holding up okay because he's got a fleet of conservators, but he wasn't thinking like, all right, when it's in my museum, I really should use X, Y, and Z. He was just trying to get the thing done, you know.
Well, isn't I mean, like Toulouse-Lautrec, he painted on cardboard, and Munch's Scream is on cardboard. Like, there's just pieces that are so well known, and they're not on like great materials to survive.
Yeah, which makes you think like, wow, I wonder, you know, it's because I've seen those cardboard pieces. And have you ever painted like that on, like, with the painting in the spirits? It's really fun.
I need to try that.
It's basically you take your palette. John, have you ever done it?
No.
So you take your palette. I didn't know that Lautrec got it from Degas, so that he didn't have to, you know, put his pastels. So make oil paint look like pastels. So, but you didn't have to put it behind glass. And you basically take your palette and you put it on a piece of cardboard, and that sucks out the oils in it. And then what you do is you reconstitute the oils with mineral spirits. And if you get the consistency just right, you could lay down strokes, and they look, you got it, the way you got to paint them is very like stroke like, you know, in small strokes, because it dries immediately when you're painting on cardboard and using mineral spirits, but it looks like pastel.
Oh, cool.
It's really amazing. And it's got a chalky appearance, but you could paint light over dark and dark over light. I mean, you could do anything you want.
Do you have to work fast?
You do, but you don't have to work. You're just layering, so it's not
Oh, I can get on that. I like that.
Yeah, I loved working like that. The only problem I had with it was you needed to use mineral spirits to do that, and so, you know, it had to be in a well ventilated room, and it was
right.
We're not. This is, you know, we're in the days where we realized it wasn't cool to drink the dirty water after your watercolor demo, you know, as a magic trick, you know. So we know that probably caused a lot of issues with some artists.
Excuse me, that was a trick? That was a thing?
Yeah, so I heard this from a video, which actually George Pratt had talked about it. He was doing a demonstration. He said that back in the day, after the artist had done like a watercolor demo, the big thing to do was to drink the water as like a ta-da, you know.
Oh, wow.
Academy and taste extra good.
That's like That sounds like a David Blaine theme. Like
It feels like a Ralphie moment from The Simpsons. I drank my watercolor water.
That's great, Cassandra.
That's good.
Really good Ralphie.
I love Ralphie.
So Ralphie's a character in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Who was,
I quote him way too much. Like, I'm wearing a bathrobe and I'm not even sick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just find it amazing that, do you think that was maybe an illusion that they were doing, drinking the water?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I honestly think that was like
they did it.
You know, a fun thing. Yeah. That was like, oh, that guy's crazy. That's great. And he just drinks the water.
Well, even like think about how Bob Ross cleaned his brush. He would like dip it in the middle spray and like just like wrap it all over the easel and inhale it all.
We take like a big huff.
That's bad.
Oh my God.
That's a no bueno situation.
Yeah. It's worth the sound though it makes though, right? I mean, that's the payoff.
John, do you think if your dad had been away from paint fumes too long, he would have gotten a headache?
I don't know. You know, I will tell you something that happened to him, that he started doing this technique of using new pastels, and he would cover his he's worked on layout paper and cover the paper, saturate it with mineral spirits or any kind of paint thinner, and then he would draw out with the pastel into it, and it would just change it completely and go really, very different than it was dry. It would go really dark to begin with. Anyway, it involved a lot of his hands and mineral spirits. Mm-hmm. And he started, one day he told me, he said, again, I'm going to the neurologist. And I'm like, what for? And he goes, because I lost all the feeling in my hands.
Oh my gosh.
It went on for about 3 months before he figured out why it was happening. And it was like he's just covering himself with mineral spirits all the time. And after he stopped doing it, it took about 4 or 5 months, but all of the sensitivity came back into his hands, in his fingers.
I'm just imagining that, John, with your dad's there's all these eras of your dad's work, and then there's just this era where it's just like real sloppy. People are like, oh yeah, that was the numb hands window.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. It happened to him, and I'm really glad he figured it out.
Well, on that note, on the note of numb hands, we're going to be moving on to our third and final pose. You can choose one of the two, like option A or option B from the site.
I'm going to do that.
Please post your work with hashtag illustration isolation at R Morrison and at Visual Arts Passage. We're going to check it out at the end of the night. Please share. Don't be intimidated. Please share your work. It's awesome. Not saying that you are intimidated, but I know a lot of people, they don't share their artwork with us, and we really want to see it.
We really want to see it. It's like the favorite part, to see how differently everybody interprets things, and it's nothing but a positive experience.
Yeah. I also want to mention we are in the midst of our early bird enrollment. So if you've been considering taking an illustration mentorship, if you're looking at the commercial gallery program or character design program, our school, what we focus on is helping you create a path towards developing a career in the arts. And it's always been John and I's goal to make this as affordable as possible. And these are really, really hands-on mentorships where it's not like this. You're going to have a relationship with your instructor. They're going to help you identify what you want to do and how to get there. Our goal has always been to make these affordable. In 2023, the price is going to increase to $1,200 for a semester of tuition. But if you sign up now, you can actually use code ARTSY, ARTSY, and you'll save $300 on your enrollment. So you can get a class for $899. it will lock in your pricing. So you're never going to have to deal with that $1,200. So if you've been thinking about enrolling, if you're on the fence, it's just like now is definitely the time to do it. So please, if you have any questions, reach out. If you're on the fence at all, this sales period is only going to be for another 2 weeks. So don't wait.
You're looking at your faculty from our gallery program right here. Cassandra, myself, and Ray. More to follow.
Yay.
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited.
John, do we have a gallery identified yet?
Well, the gallery that represents me here in Kansas City and also represented my father, the gallery owner has agreed to do it.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so a big part of the commercial gallery program is you gain access to the illustration guest speakers, which will be next semester will include John Foster and Jock Cooper. It's pretty awesome. And in addition to that, you get access to there will be one gallery director will visit the class, talk about what it takes to end up in a gallery.
From their perspective, yeah.
So Ray, it looks like you're going digital now.
Yep. I decided to do my lay-in and then in acrylics. And now I'm going to finish it off digitally. Thought I'd have some fun.
Yeah, stop.
I'm just using Photoshop here.
That's nice, right? I got to do another post. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm finally moving on. I couldn't let go.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay. So I really like doing this, like having my I love the mixing of mediums. Always been a fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done is probably I also made the mistake that I did last week. I gotta stop doing that. I made the head too small, so I just felt too cramped.
I love where it ended up though.
Is that are you consistent with that, Ray? I mean, is that I asked that being seriously. You know, people have tendencies. They got to learn how to first they need to learn what they are, their strengths and weaknesses, and then learn how to control them.
Yeah, so I mean, like for those who don't know what John is asking, you know, they're certain types of artists that we all have tendencies, and when it comes to kind of placing things on a surface, there's some that always make things too large, and some that always make things too small.
Too
me
wide.
Personally, or too wide or too narrow. I've had the privilege of having all of those issues.
I have that privilege too.
No, this was actually, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I just want to make a little thumbnail painting and have fun with it. But then I really love this shot, so I was just kind of like, you know, I wish it were a little bit larger. So I just made I changed my mind basically.
I like it how it is.
What I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And I'm gonna. That's why I'm just gonna kind of preserve that, and then I'm just gonna probably start selecting some edges, and because I thought I changed my mind when we were talking about, you had mentioned you were thinking about how we were talking about editing and what's done and what's not done, you know, and I think this would be a nice opportunity to. I thought to myself, I should. This is the opportunity. I should have some fun and play around with that and ask myself those questions.
Well, also what's cool about that is like your painting isn't going anywhere. So if you mess it up digitally, like you still have preserved what you already created. That's good.
Right. Yeah, I use this process. I think this idea is invaluable to me as a gallery painter, because a lot of times I've really kind of struggled with a piece, or if I'm designing a painting in the design phase, and I know it's going to be very there's a bunch of shapes that I'm not sure how I'm going to interpret in paint or design them. I'll do a color study, a smaller version of the painting, and then photograph it really nicely, with my SLR, and because I got to do it anyway for my galleries, and then bring that in to Photoshop and finish the painting off. So all of a sudden, these small, these strokes that were done with the number 1 brush, all of a sudden look like they were done with the number 14 or 2-inch house brush.
Mm.
And I in my head, I find for me the point in the image creation process where I'm less willing to take a risk is going to be on the final. Like when it's on the final canvas and or the panel, I'm ready to go. I'm not really. I don't have the time for things to go wrong. It's got to be right. It's got to work out, and so as much as possible. So if I could design things,
good illustration training right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ray, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought it was.
No, that's. I'm glad you did, because that's where I learned it. I had done small paintings, and one of my teachers, I studied with an artist by the name of John Rush.
I know
he's an
John.
illustrator painter. Yeah, so John taught me the value of doing really resolved color studies, and then using that as to inform my painting. And you could pretty much get I was getting 70-80% of the way with just copying this small version, using it as my primary reference, and then finishing it off by visiting the reference again and seeing how I could pull it together. And so I just took it a little bit further, where I and this came from just there was a illustrator by the name of Sheldon Greenberg who had subbed in for a class for Craig Nelson, and he talked about how when he was talking about editing paintings, he said, I would take Polaroids of my pieces and paint on top of them in oils, because I was an oil painter. So and it was really great. And I said, man, how can I bring that into, how can I use that? And so I thought, well, instead of Polaroids, why don't I just take it with a digital camera and print it out and then paint on top of that? And then it just came into hey, why don't I just take a nice picture of it, bring it into Photoshop and paint it up. And so I really think about, for me, some people might look at it oh my God, don't you just get tired or painting the same painting multiple times? And I always say digital technology or working like this allows me to be as risk-taking as possible, to push ideas. If I wanted a certain stroke coming across, it would have taken me longer to do it in the final, and I probably wouldn't have done it anyway, because I didn't want to mess it up and I would be playing too safe. And so why not do it digitally? Like Cassandra was saying, if I don't like it, I could just turn the layer off. Just like this,
And that's the time to tell everybody that there is no such thing as cheating in art.
Right.
Exactly.
There's just your way, and you figure out what that is.
And you can have the best cheating devices in the world, but if you don't understand, if you don't draw well, if you don't understand what you're trying to accomplish, how form affects light effects form and all of that, form principles. It doesn't matter because you won't be able to apply it very well. I love listening to I love listening to artists talk about things that they've done that to achieve something that may not be taught anywhere, or it's just what works for them. That's the advantage of I love listening to Ray talk about his instructors, because I mean I had great instructors, there's no doubt. Ray's had phenomenal instructors. I know Cassandra's had great instructors because I knew her as a student, and all the people that affected her. But I think it's so important to hear stories like that, and to see an artist do something that's like, oh, I could do it this way. And I just think that there is no rules. There's rules, basic principles of the way things work, and then you make them work for yourself. At least I think that's how it works.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I was always told, I remember, Bill Mon knew, every medium was facile with every medium under the sun. And he would do these demonstrations. Before every single demonstration, he would say, the goal is to not copy me, but to understand why I'm taking steps the way I'm taking them. And then that way, once you do that, you're empowered. That information is contextualized and allows you to experiment with those ideas and make solutions of your own, or come up with solutions of your own. So
the thing about like learning art is, I don't think you really understand a principle unless you can apply it. And
absolutely,
I think that's one of the huge values of learning from good artists. I think in this room, we were all blessed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just learning, I think the people that we learned from taught us how to go past what they taught us, to go past what the scope of their knowledge, and understand how to take more, study and improve and study other artists, and allow you to grow. So we're not copycats, and you realize like all this, a mark of a really good teacher is that, I mean, your dad, I was just thinking about this when we were talking about Thomas Blackshear last week. I'm like, Tom, your dad's responsible for a lot of Thomas's, accomplishments in terms of like how he grew as an artist. And there's no way that you would be calling Thomas Blackshear a Mark English clone, right?
Right. Yeah.
You could see echoes of it, but it's in his own way. It's a weird thing. You wouldn't say like, you wouldn't look at him and Sterling Hunley, right, and then Chris Payne and be like, oh yeah, all of them studied under Mark English, and be like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, you could totally see that. I'm not knocking any artists, but there's certain ones that you could it's more of a mannerist that they're copying rather than understanding the elements, like John was saying, like really those principles.
It's good to know stuff, right?
It
John,
really is, John, right?
Sorry this might be a pretty far off a segue, but someone asked John about how you start drawing the head, and they felt like, do you not use the Loomis method? That was one of the things they asked. And what
I
do you use?
I am looking, I use like reference points. My whole goal at the beginning is try to find the shape of the head, and I use reference points. I'll start, and I don't, this is a little bit more difficult one for me, because the top of the head is not included, and I'm going to try to find the top of the head. So I'll try to I'm going to try to figure out, just by identifying the shape. And I practice that a lot. It usually doesn't fail me. Not saying it won't, but I use a lot of like angles and just kind of measure in my head what's going on. And I want to see this, I want to identify this shape, which is very, very important to me. And shape is you have to think about the picture being a collection of shapes, identifying the picture plane as a collection of shapes. And you know, we jokingly said one night, somebody asked how you draw a nose, and I said, well, the biggest part about drawing a nose is to figure out where it goes. That's the first thing. And that's what I'm trying.
John was a huge Dr. Seuss fan, if you folks don't know.
Still am, right?
Somebody asked this a while ago. Do you all have a favorite mixed medium to work with?
Acrylic and oil, baby.
That's it right there. That's my world too.
You taught me.
Yeah, I love acrylic and oil. I love man, you know what I really like? I saw stills of you doing the dried oil pastel.
Yeah.
And oil on top of that. I love that.
I do too.
That's such a great way of working. I kind of saw from stills how it was developed. I think it was probably on Visual Arts Passage Illustration Isolation, like the Instagram page or their website. So I kind of had to kind of fill in the gaps, but I kind of understood, you know, how to do it. And I just love the ability to layer, you know, and let every layer speak through, like let the final layer be a culmination of all the previous layers.
Right. I was having I learned how to do that a long time ago. And I used it in a lot of my illustration work because I could mimic oil paint. I could make an oil painting have or an illustration have a lot of texture and mark making to it with those materials that would dry real quickly. So, because I had to ship everything. And so the things I was focusing on was trying to like make it feel like an oil painting, but being able to deliver it in FedEx the next day. So it was kind of a battle, you know? And so that technique, which I saw my father use, and I kind of took it a little bit to a few different places, but it's a mixed media that I really like a lot. The last couple of large paintings I've done have been like, I've used that materials. I go to paint sticks and stuff too, because you get covering more real estate. But you're kind of drawing through that. You're drawing back into the process with the crayons and oil sticks. The reason I picked that up again in paint was I teach a little bit and Timmy and I are doing a lot of things with the school, and I have to pay attention to that. And I was starting and stopping so much. And and it was really I was trying to come up with a solution that would make it easier for me to walk away from a painting and not have to take it to a certain point technically if I was painting wet into wet. And you know, anybody that paints wet into wet knows, you know, you can't leave edges a certain way, or you walk away from it, you better have a plan. And I could just get up and walk away anytime with that approach. And it's something I'm still exploring more and more of to bring it into the gallery work that I'm doing.
That's so cool. I totally, I totally get that. You know, like you could basically do a little bit. Like with oil paint, you can't just like sit down, do a little bit, and then like, okay, I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah, you commit, right? You have to commit to a
Yeah,
time
you
that you're
gotta
going to
commit,
sit there and work through it.
right? And for those of you who don't know what paint sticks are, basically it's oil, it's paint with like a almost like a wax, right? Like like it's held together in a stick form.
Like a
Looks like a
caustic.
looks like a big giant
Like
crane. You can see my
yeah,
camera. And you can just cut off the edge, and it's wet paint inside.
yeah, it's pretty wild. It's really cool stuff. But it's like a tube of paint, so
Yeah.
it's you know, it can get pricey. It's literally a tube of paint. That's my pastels are so expensive because they're, you know, they can get really expensive because they're the same pigment load as a tube of paint. Insert, you know, in the good ones.
Actually, the ones I use aren't that expensive, right?
What the new pastels you mean?
No, the
Or
paint
like
stick.
this? Oh, they're not. Which ones are used? Like the RF paint sticks, or
These are artist paint stick by their Shiva.
oh, okay. Oh, I haven't tried their. I've tried their casein once, but I gotta check that out. I really gotta check that out.
Yeah, I didn't think they were all that pricey.
Cool. That's good to know. The ones I used to work at Blick Art Materials in San Francisco, and so we had like really expensive ones. They were beautiful though. I mean, the colors were super intense and just gorgeous. So I was like, okay, I know why. I get it. You know.
Hey, this is incredible.
Ooh, yeah.
Looks so great.
It's backwards, Ray. You always get it backwards, man.
That's how I can dodge the copyright claims and call it my own. No, don't do that, other artists.
I'll cut that out. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll cut that in post.
Yeah.
So I didn't answer my mixed media thing. I cannot choose. I love working acrylic and oils. Absolutely love it. The crayons, I've only done one or two paintings with it, but I love that. I love working with airbrush acrylics as a base, and then working oils on top of that. That's really cool. I like working, I saw John do this in another photo. John's like, did you have like a smile?
My question is, where are you seeing all this stuff?
Listen, man, you know, I have I'm obsessive about like learning things. So like,
I was gonna say, I need to put this behind a paywall or something.
Yeah.
Just for
there was like, it was on I think either on Instagram early in the days where you did a demo where you filled it in flat areas of acrylic, like just flat.
Yeah.
And I thought that's really brilliant.
That would have been super early us on just Instagram, where it was like a minute and a half of John being like, I think I'm live. Are we live? And then you could hear me in the background, like, yeah, you're live. I think you're live.
Actually, I think that was I did that with the first demo at Illustration Isolation too.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It was Vimeo.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
Vimeo.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, Ray. No, the first Illustration Isolation, the very first one, we got John Foster on the panel, and we're there like 10 minutes early. There's like 700. There were so many people in the waiting room of the webinar. And I was like explaining the room to everybody because nobody knew what Zoom, like very few people were like super accustomed with Zoom, especially a Zoom in our room, which is a little different as a panelist. And I was about to tell everybody, hey, there is a blue button, and I was just gonna say there's a blue button. Don't press it because it'll open the room to everybody. And you know, there's a blue button, and John Foster just pressed it and opened up the room.
Oh my God.
He immediately was like, "Oh yeah, that one."
Got it for you.
Yeah, this was when Zoom had like no protocol for like controlling a room, so it was just like everybody could start a broadcast. Yeah. And I just remember being like, yeah, so we're starting now. Everybody, it's on the record. Don't say anything unsavory, you know, like, yeah, not that we ever do, but yeah, those were the good old days. Which by the way, we're getting close. This is our like 7-minute warning on this last pose, but I do want to tell everybody I've been messaging Matthew Salacuse, and we've been chatting about a negative collection series of weeks.
Yes.
Whoa.
So
yes, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with Matthew Salacuse, he's a if you're a longtime attendee, you'll know he's like one of our favorite guests.
If you know, you know.
If you know,
you know.
He's an absolute.
If you're in the know, you know.
Yeah, he is so much fun to have on the show. I'm sure he'll probably come on for these weeks. But Matthew is a world-renowned photographer. My favorite credit that he has is he photographed Jay-Z's first album cover. And he spent an incredible 18 hours with DMX.
That was a wild story.
Yeah, but his one of his pastimes, or I don't want to belittle it because it's like he's a professional at it. It's amazing. Is he finds lost photo negatives and develops them and makes limited run prints available. It's called the Negative Collection, and it's incredible. I mean, if you're wondering what it is, I'll drop a link to it on chat and Discord. But like John and I have his prints. Ray's got a print of it. It's so cool. We gotta do it. But some of the photos, if you go through, it's wild. The photos he has, like the photos that he's dug up at like estate sales, and just like they were like in an abandoned, warehouse. I'm talking about.
Was it one like from a famous, like it was a Rod Stewart, and the photographer said that he had put it in a storage. And
oh yeah.
Right, and like either like they repoed his stuff or something, or like
like a storage unit. Yeah.
And I just got to do it. I just got to share it because it's so cool. Like these are all slides. These are all negatives that he just found. John's got this one. It's pretty cool.
Yes, I do.
Oh, Bruce. Oh my God.
I got this one, which I love.
Oh, I love that one.
That's a great one.
How come yours is worth so much more than mine?
But they're just so cool. Eddie Van Halen, Joan Rivers
Rivers, fine coach. I love it.
Double exposure, Burt Reynolds.
200. I would add. I would just send a couple of more zeros. I love this Ali one.
I know.
That was one that.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, well, the one I have reminds me of a Brandywine painting.
Yeah, I don't know which one you have, but this Jim Morrison, that looks like it was done like purposefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
look at that oil rig. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sammy Davis Jr. These are all found.
That's so wild to me.
So and then this is one of my favorites. Car full of nuns in an old car with a line. Like it's just like no details.
This feels like the beginning of a joke, like
exactly.
4 nuns are in a car and a lion walks by.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna be doing the negative collection soon. I just got confirmation. Hopefully we'll have Salacuse on the show. and he'll tell some fun stories about how he found those photos. So,
well, and it was really delightful when he was on with Chris Buck, and that they were so different in their approach to their art. And it was such a respectful, special conversation to hear.
it was so cool. And for people who are like not photographers, I can just say it was so impressive that they had such a great conversation that was so fun and so respectful, yet came, like what you were saying, Cassandra, came from like totally different thoughts of school, you know?
I still think "Respect the Arrogance" needs to go on a t-shirt.
Oh yeah, when he was talking about the rapper.
Respect the, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta respect the arrogance.
Gotta respect the arrogance. It's just
Yeah. So, you all got that to look forward to. Everybody, it is time to start posting your work to Instagram. Please use at R Morrison. That's RMO. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm trying to spell that without looking at it.
It's MO.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'll just drop it in the chat. But R Morrison and at Visual Arts Passage on your caption. Yeah, it's at RMORRISON and hashtag illustration isolation. Please post it. Do it now. Don't wait. We're gonna go to Instagram in a few minutes. So please post. Don't do it at the last minute, because I get like I always get a bunch of messages. They're like, can you please refresh? Please don't do that. And also, I don't know if we mentioned this at the height of, because there's just so many credits to mention with Rachel, but Rachel's the first woman cinematographer nominated for Best Cinematography for the Academy Awards.
That's just wild.
Pretty amazing. I think I spaced out at the beginning of the show and just failed to mention that, but I mean,
she's done some stuff. She knows some things.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Things were done.
It's also pretty amazing that we forgot to mention that credit. So sorry, but I just, yeah. Somebody asked, you can post your work anytime. It's just, we're going to check it out tonight. So post it now.
But we always pop by and look at things later too.
Yeah, we're going to look at stuff later. If you don't know how to post it, you can email it to us. But please post it, you know, find a grandkid and be like, give me your Instagram account.
Oh, and a word to the wise, if you're, not that it has to be public, but if your account isn't public, we won't see it.
That's word to the unwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right. Yeah, I was pretty excited about the negative collection. I love it. So
It's beautiful.
It's so good.
Man,
That's
the first I've heard of that, Timmy. That sounds great.
yeah, well, it just happened. So, and I love sharing news with you, John, live.
Yeah. So I can't. I have no decision making in it. It's just
the gift that keeps on giving, John.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the show Succession, John? I mean, that's like, his is a power move.
Yeah. I have seen the show.
Like, and also John's gonna donate.
Yeah. Every drawing I've done in illustration isolation for the last 2 years.
Yeah. John's gonna donate tens of thousands of dollars to da.
I can
tell me the one.
Oh, go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the one I have is Street Cars and Steam in Pittsburgh, 1930s.
I like it.
This one right here.
You gonna share it?
Wait, I can't see it.
I have it on my.
Yeah.
No, I have it on my.
That is cool.
That's like a Turner.
Doesn't that look like a Thornton Oakley painting? Anybody familiar with Thornton Oakley?
I'm not familiar, unfortunately.
Yeah, the work looks just like that.
I have not. I haven't asked Matthew.
John.
I haven't asked Matthew. He alluded to this when he was on with us for an episode, like one of his first episodes where we learned about the negative collection. But one of his photos is a Vivian Maier photo. I'm like 90% positive it's the one that I got a print of. But
Wow.
I think that the guy who found the crate of Vivian Maier photos, I've heard that he's like pretty litigious. And so I don't know.
I should be sending him your address, right?
Yeah.
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 Basically, you'll be.
Yeah. There's a reason we haven't done like a Vivian Maier night.
So does he like, is there, how many photographs will he develop from that one slide?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's different for everyone, and I don't want to say it wrong. Let me see.
Also, tell what he does for the artist that he thinks that owns it. I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah.
That's the coolest part to me.
Yeah. So a big effort that he makes is he tries to track down oh wow, Ray, that's awesome.
That is
Right. That's a Thornton Oakley.
Oh my gosh. Wait. Oh, are you kidding? You're not kidding. That was wow. No kidding.
That was the one I was thinking of when I saw it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Matthew will like make a pretty great effort to track down the original photographer. And if they find the original photographer, as Matthew explained to us, they return the original slides and any money made from the prints, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's amazing. Which the one story that I think made a lot of rounds was he found a collection of slides from like a very young Leonardo DiCaprio photo shoot. And it was the slides were all located in a storage unit that I think like a photographer had fallen on bad luck, like bad times, and like failed to make payments.
That was the one. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
And the storage unit probably like like what's like just like went up for auction or whatever, and so like Matthew ended up finding these slides and like ended up reconnecting with the photographer like decades after the photos had been taken, and returned all the slides, which is really awesome. He's just a good guy.
He's just such a nice person.
Oh man. Oof.
He's really just excited about art, which is so inspiring to be around somebody who gets inspired by all art.
Same with Chris Buck. I was talking with a buddy of mine like about that, a photographer, because like I shared like I just like shared on my stories like the night that Chris Buck was there, and like literally every photographer I knew was like, what the hell, dude? Why didn't you didn't tell anybody this? Nobody knew it was coming, because they all just think he's like a god in that world. And I was telling him, I was like, dude, Chris Buck is so cool because he's like at such a pinnacle of success, and he still like kind of finds a bit of wonder in every day,
Yeah.
Not jaded at all. Just like really.
Well, we could just say Chris, because we know he's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the show.
Oh, the Buckman.
Yeah. Okay. He's no longer a friend of the show. This just.
We want to request that you never say that again.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Mr. Buck. Sorry, sir, Mr. Buck. No, but it was so sweet because like he messaged, and he said this on the show. He was like, it was always my dream to have my photography drawn by like to be good enough to be drawn by artists. And he was like, now I feel like I can retire. And I was like, that's so sweet. Such a fun way to just say thank you. It was really nice.
It was.
Yeah, so it was like one of those things where I'm like, who are you, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
and then he'll casually talk about photographing George Clooney, and
right.
Hands down, my favorite name drop of that night was when he said that Michael J. Fox endorsed his
immigration. Yeah.
Michael J. Fox was like his like fellow Canadian that got him into the country. Like I was like, all right, yeah, that's normal.
Marty McFly helped you, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great story, Chris. What's your favorite camera?
Yeah, but anyway, so if you're like, what are these guys talking about? You should keep tuning in because that's gonna be a future episode. Probably not Mr. Buck. He's gonna hear what I said, and he's probably never coming back. But
You just called him the Buckman. I mean,
the Buck man.
you're done, dude.
Yeah, I'm done. He's cutting me out. He told an assistant, like, block that number for me, please. Yeah, all right. I am moving to Instagram. All right, can everybody start sharing?
Oh man.
That's already strong. Wow.
Yep. I think we're gonna see more too, though. Oof.
Yes.
Well, great.
All right. Okay, are we all ready? I think everybody's ready. We're good to go.
Drawing here. Hold on.
It's time, people. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's so great.
From last week.
That's so good.
Right? Yeah, it's fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit it one more time, just see if we got some new ones. It's like popcorn. You have to hit refresh with like 3 seconds, and if it goes 3 seconds without popping, you're like, all right, then we can go. All right.
Nice. You got his eyes. Like those are definitely his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
that's
that.
kind of meta. Wow.
Oh, that was cool. Well, thank you. I'm honored you drew my hand.
Oh, that I didn't.
Oh
Whoa,
my God,
wait.
that was Cassandra.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
they couldn't get I absolutely love this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I vote to use one of the 4 likes on that.
Yeah, can you use a like on that to me?
Yeah,
There we go.
It's
Yes.
shocking that that's the first like for that one too.
Flattery,
Comment. I'm gonna also
flattery will get you everywhere.
first like.
Works for me.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, this is great.
Oh, that's cool.
Oof.
Ooh.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Good job, Peter.
Wow.
Wow.
Killed it. That actor is so interesting.
Ooh.
The way he looks, because he's so handsome, but like he also like looks like just
I feel like he's one of those guys that when he wants to, he can look amazing. And when he doesn't want to, you could just look past him.
I've heard this before. Like there's like 8 of those guys at like my Quick Trip. Like like he's so average but so handsome at the same time. And you're like, I don't get it.
I feel like Matthew McConaughey can do that depending on who he plays.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Wow.
It's really good, Peter.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Oh,
Ooh.
you got so much expression in that.
Oh, nice,
Oh,
Sally.
Sally.
Ooh.
That's fun.
That's cool.
It is fun.
That's really cool.
Knock it off, Sally. Nice drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun too.
Yeah, it is.
Look at that.
Good job, Felicity.
Go, Felicity's getting
Nice.
good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, lovely.
No, very nice.
What a delicate hand on that. I love how you handled the shadow and those highlights on the eyes.
Oh,
Nice.
Good job.
so
Really nice tilt to the head. That like I feel like that's not an easy thing.
nice. That's a good likeness.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Good job. Ooh,
That's really fun. Wow.
talk about good shapes, right?
Yeah, very well done.
Nice.
You know, people complain when I'm the one doing this.
I can see
Who's
why.
complaining?
There's a growing faction of people that want John to do it again. I'm just saying. There is. I get complaints.
Yeah, they like to watch me fail.
Every
Hashtag save John.
Yeah, every Friday morning, Sally English forwards me all of the complaints.
Hashtag free John. Hashtag free John. It's working.
I like
Oh, really nice job on this.
Yeah, this is great.
That's really good.
Very nice.
Love the Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, good
Yeah,
job.
that's great.
Oh my
Ooh.
That's great.
That's
Wow.
beautiful.
Oh,
Very good. Nice, Ron.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love that.
whoa. Should have done that. That's what I should have done.
You've done
Yeah.
that.
Good job.
That's great.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
There we go.
Felicity. Wow, that's great.
Man.
Good
Like,
job.
he's so handsome and he's got that patchy beard. It's just,
I love this here. I love how you cropped
That's
it.
great. That's, yeah.
It's really well done.
mhm.
Who let Gary in? It's so good.
Yeah. Did we tell Gary we changed the time again?
Yeah,
John,
but
he did a really nice top of the head. Did you see that?
yeah, Gary's using some like pirate streaming website to tune in now.
His IP address keeps changing.
Yeah,
We can't track him.
yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really good.
Love it. Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people tonight, so I should pick it up a little bit. This is great.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh,
Love it.
Mhm.
Love it. Oh,
Ooh.
that's so nice.
Wow.
holy.
Love it. I'm gonna give it a like.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yep.
Had great depth.
We got 2 likes left, everybody. John, I'll give one of them to you.
The first one had to be, of course, of my beautifully rendered hand,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Really good job.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome. I love that.
Ooh.
That's so cool. Dang. Good job.
Wow.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's really good.
Wow. Watercolor and ink wash.
Nice
Good
job.
job. Oh, that's cool. That long neck.
I know.
So cool.
That's it.
Good job.
Love it.
These are some like, it was like either subtle
There we go.
shadows or big shadows. No in between.
Wow.
Wow.
I have a question. A
That's the
couple
last one,
people.
too. Wow.
I've noticed a couple people have split the image. Is that
There was a reflection in
Yeah,
it.
there was a reflection.
okay? All right. I was
I
like,
didn't
wow.
even notice
People
that.
are, people are connecting in a way. Hive mind.
Oh, goodness, it's good.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That's really good.
Oh, AJ.
You just
AJ.
feeding that. Wow.
John, you got that
Dude.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, you can like that one for me.
Yeah. I like that this is becoming like the fridge art of the week. Yeah, I love it.
That's great.
Oh man.
Good job.
Wow. I like that.
Mhm.
By the way, by liking stuff, we're just goofing around. This is all awesome.
Yeah, we're not playing
Everybody gets a
favorites.
gold star because you showed
Yeah.
up and you drew.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Sincerely. Yeah,
Ooh.
that's awesome. Wow.
Jeez.
really good job. Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Nice,
nice.
Jeff.
Timmy, that's awesome. I'm glad you said that because I didn't want you to feed the faction that's trying to oust you.
Yeah. They are trying to make me into a bit of a villain. you know.
Or they just realize it's a button they can push and it gets to you.
Yeah. Yep. They know it.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
really
used to
nice.
be, did I say something that I'm gonna regret last night? And now it's just, did I click through the photos too fast?
Oh man, Nicole, that's great.
Love it.
I like that one.
Mhm.
Whoa.
That's cool.
I skipped. Love it.
That's nice.
Oh, nice, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing. That's awesome.
Very nice.
Man, wow. Killer. We got one
Really
like
impressed
left.
by the restraint. Wow.
Nice.
We got one like left. Wow.
Oh, really nice. Good job.
Wow.
Anna.
Oh, that's
Timmy,
really nice too.
It's a lot of pressure for the one like, so we're just gonna let you handle it.
Right.
There's not gonna be any fallout from it. So
Yeah. Well, it's kind of tough because you don't want to wait too long. And then you just like have to like some like anime promotion that somebody posted
Oh,
between.
that's neat. Very haunting the way you handled that.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Man, I love
I
seeing
like
new
that.
names. That's so cool. Love
That's
it.
fun.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice, Kathy.
Whoa.
Awesome.
Ooh, very well done.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one. That's cool. Wow.
Good job, Karen. Ooh,
It's so, that's so
that's
great.
cool.
I love it. That's fun.
I really like it.
That's nice too.
Mhm.
Wow.
Good job. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love your shapes.
Wow.
Good job.
Yeah. Whatever, AJ. That's great.
That was
Nice.
nice.
Love seeing a panel.
Ooh,
Oh, the panel's back. That's great.
Giving
that's
it-
fantastic. Oh, there it is.
I mean, it's the
Wow.
extra effort of like being like planning that out. Love it.
That's cool.
Oh, I love that.
That's
That's fun.
really cool.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nice. Really nice. Good job.
That's good drawing.
That was a really good drawing.
Awesome.
Oh, that's so
There
great.
you go.
Started drawing again. Well, welcome back.
Very
Yeah,
good.
Back.
Thank you for coming.
we're always drawing on Thursdays.
Put down shape. You got it.
Good job, Paul.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh.
Ooh. Really good.
Yeah, that's great. Oh,
That's
yeah.
really nice too.
Like, oh, squash. Yeah, right on.
Oh, Jeff. Way to change up.
Whoa.
Wow, that is wow.
That's a big change.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
Love it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like what you did there.
That's awesome.
That's fun.
I love the treatments.
Yeah, it's
Man,
so
let's see.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really interesting, Nicole.
Very good, Nicole.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
That's awesome.
Oof, that one's
Oh,
out.
another panel.
Good job, Xander.
Wish I had a fifth like, but I don't. All right, but you know what? You get to be the last panel, which is the exciting. That was awesome.
That was so great. Everyone did wonderful.
It's great, everyone.
Seriously.
Very, very fun night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Cassandra and Ray. They always make the room better. So.
Oh, thanks for letting me in the room.
Yeah, seriously. Thanks for keeping the door open. Let me sneak in.
We can't figure out
how you're getting in.
Yeah. I use Dale's login code. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Or Chris Payne's.
Yeah, both their passwords.
Yeah, Chris Payne's, yeah.
Password.
Yeah, password.
11111.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, all right, everybody. Just a reminder, it's early bird enrollment, so please don't skip out on that. If you have questions, shoot us an email at hello@visualartspassage, or just go to the website, fill out the form. Other than that, that was so much fun.
And Timmy,
thank you so much.
You're not giving them enough
Thank you,
credit.
everyone.
It's password plus their social security number.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'd be like password exclamation. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next
Have a
week.
wonderful week, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone.